Hey guys! Before the rewriting season 4 videos start going up next week, I just wanted to do this intro to talk a little bit about the upload schedule and talk a little bit about what to expect from the rewriting season 4 videos in the spoiler-free way, of course. So yeah, first things first, let's talk about the schedule. In the previous video I was trying to decide between uploading the story in one long video or with the parts in 3 separate videos, but in the comments on that video, someone suggested uploading them in a way similar to how the original series aired, with one part a week, and I really like that idea. So that's what the current plan is. The premiere, Hellbound Parts 1 and 2, will go up on Sunday, December 1st. The season overview will go up the following week on Sunday, December 8th. The finale, The Power of Three, will go up on Sunday, December 15th, and then the season 4 breakdown, where we talk about all the videos and how it's set up for season 5, Sunday, December 22nd. So yes, that is what the current upload plan is, and I just also wanted to say thank you guys so much for all of your lovely comments and feedback on the last video. You know, I was having a hard week with the jaw, and it really meant a lot. And I also wanted to give a special thank you to Catherine, who actually was the one who suggested the premiere title, Hellbound. I love that idea so much, and it fits the premise perfectly. So the premiere episode is now officially titled Hellbound Parts 1 and 2. And before we get into the rewriting stuff itself, I should probably just quickly recap what happened in the real season 4, which was when Shannon was forced off the show altogether and Constance M. Burge, the series creator, had been demoted. So Brad Kern,
we're talking about the showrunner, producer, Brad Kern, who was an interesting fella.
Illustrious.
Could take over. Constance stayed on for another season and tried to do what she could, but much like a dog with a bone, Brad wasn't having it, and Constance finally had enough and left the show for good at the end of season 4. So this is a big part of why season 4 is not only a huge tone shift from the previous seasons, but it's also so rushed. I mean, here you have the Source, a being that was hinted at in season 1.
He's going to be none too pleased to learn that we have failed.
I have been sent to you, Rodriguez, as a gift.
Sent by who?
I think you know who.
And has been on a slow simmer for 3 seasons, with the end of season 3 being our first real look at him, and it did not disappoint.
I know of your struggles, Balthazar, of your witch. I know that's why you've come to me. I know everything about you.
I always got the impression that the initial design for the Source was based off of Satan, with the red skin and black talons like a dragon, the angel wings, just a lot of attention to detail. And I think it's very clear that a lot of thought went into this design and reveal, and it had us on the edge of our seats. It felt like the slow simmer was finally starting to come to a boil, and it looked like season 4 might be when we finally got to see this epic showdown between the Charmed Ones and the Source himself.
Once I have reset time, detain him, and then kill his witch. That way I won't have to worry about Balthazar anymore, or the Charmed Ones.
So imagine our disappointment when they not only completely ditched the Dark Angel look in season 4, but the Source, who was clearly formidable and dangerous in the season 3 finale, is essentially turned into this whining, tantrum-throwing toddler.
We all could die.
If I don't prevail, what difference does it make?
There must be another way.
No!
Whose design definitely got a downgrade as well. I mean, it's pretty much the Grimlock's design, really, just with tattoos and one side of the face that met with an unfortunate accident. It's not what I, at least, would have pictured the Source, the ultimate evil, to look like. But if the Source's appearance and attitude adjustment were disappointments, it was nothing compared to the letdown that was the showdown between the Charmed Ones and the Source. Not only did they manage to win in one episode, with a witch that was new to the craft and by all logic should not have stood a chance against the evil being that the Charmed Ones had been trying to survive for 3 seasons, but they also rushed it, causing what should have taken an entire season to build up to turn into a mid-season finale. Literally, there was no build up for this. They defeated the Source in the episode Charmed and Dangerous, and the episode previous to that was Lost and Bound, where the Charmed ones meet a young boy who's having a hard time understanding and controlling his power, and this ties into Piper and Leo trying to decide how to raise their children in the future. And then there was the stuff with Graham's cursed ring affecting Phoebe and just random episode stuff. Nothing to suggest that the Source would be coming after them the next episode, or that this would be the big showdown that we built up to for 3 seasons. Nope. Some random kid and a cursed ring, and the next episode they're taking out their arch nemesis. Wow. What a waste of build-up, and I swear this was probably the moment that Constance gave up on Charmed altogether. I mean, her carefully crafted villain thrown away in favor of, what, a flashy episode? Oh, I would have been out of there too. Although I probably would have went a lot louder than Constance. I would have been walking out with scripts like, here, you write it now. If you're so good, have fun. Oh, look, here's one I wrote. Here, I'll sign this for you, Brad, so you can keep this to remind yourself of when the show is good. Yeah, put it in your back pocket. You might have to recycle a couple of plots. I know you like to do that anyway. Bye, Connie out. And then I throw the rest of the papers around and then run out. And then I'd probably do something super petty, like make a Book of Shadows just with spells aimed at...
We landed on a mantra, which is it's a show about 3 sisters who happen to be witches, not 3 witches who happen to be sisters. And we kind of, once we found that mantra, we stuck with that and realized this is a family show first. This is a show about women.
You know what? Let me stop rambling because I actually have a lot of ideas on how petty I could have been if that had been me. Let me get back on track. Where was I anyway? Oh yeah, he threw away the development of the Source, and he also actually threw away the development of the characters, because this was the beginning of the end for their character arcs as well, because by season 6 they had completely trashed any character development the sisters had in the early seasons. Prue went from the most responsible, protective sister to a prideful, reckless person that sometimes actually put her sisters in danger by the end of her arc.
We are going to be careful, we're going to be wise, and we're going to stick together. Yeah, but I can protect myself. I mean, I have something that they don't have, something that guns can't even compete with. Come on, where? To go find him so we can finish him off while he's still hurt.
Piper went from being the heart of the family who never wanted to be a witch in the first place and struggled with all the sacrifices and pain that it brings to misusing magic whenever she pleases and being disrespectful and honestly sometimes downright rude whenever the mood strikes her.
Thanks, Piper. I hope Shelley didn't see that.
Oh, don't worry about it, Doug. You just hang in there.
Hello? Worker bees? Anyone? Hi, listen, top 40 only, really, 1 power ballad and you'll never DJ in this state again, seriously. Hi, you, come here. Table 8, water spots on the glass, please fix it. Okay.
And Phoebe started off as the youngest who loved being a witch, and despite misusing magic at some points and having a bit of a history of being a troublemaker, it was always clear that Phoebe wanted to prove herself and do something meaningful with her life. She just struggled to find her path because she wanted to do it her own way. And she was definitely on her way there. The early seasons saw Phoebe looking for jobs, going out of her way to protect innocents, and using her instincts to save the day numerous times.
We always thought that nobody could take the Book of Shadows out of the house but us. Maybe nobody did. Maybe it's still in the house, just on a different plane, the astral plane.
Right, but I've already proven that you can't take his sword away from him.
Why do we have to take it away? Maybe we should try to bring Gabriel and his sword even closer.
He sees the future too.
Or else he's from it. There's a button that's not supposed to exist, a demon that the Book of Shadows says doesn't exist, and a baby no one knows exists.
Then in later seasons, they just throw it away by turning Phoebe into this magic-abusing, self-centered girl that constantly puts the guys in her life before her sisters and finally gets a career just to potentially jeopardize any credibility she has by sleeping with her co-workers. I'm sorry, but no way would this ever have happened. Let's be real, in the real world, there is zero chance that someone would be hired on, almost immediately start getting preferential treatment from her boss, who lets her come and go as she pleases, especially given that that boss is known for being a bit...
I'm here on behalf of Karen Young. She has fallen ill and tell her she's fired.
...strict. Co-workers would have already had an opinion on that, and I doubt it would have been a positive one. And then the newspaper they work for is bought by someone new who wants to shake things up, so they're probably all worried about being able to keep their jobs just for the woman who already gets preferential treatment to start sleeping with said boss and get even more preferential treatment, and did the same with several other co-workers as well. I'm sorry, but no way would her coworkers all just be chill with it and just love Phoebe and Jason's relationship so much. You know, I know there are exceptions, but for the most part, every single relationship I've seen or heard of where someone got together with the boss, it made them a bit of a social pariah amongst their coworkers because no one liked the idea that if they rub this person the wrong way, it could mean their job. Most people, I feel like, wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And, you know, the fact that this was written into the show, you can definitely tell who came up with it. And on Phoebe's end, you can tell that this is Brad's Phoebe because there's just no way that Connie's Phoebe would have finally gotten the career that she always wanted just to jeopardize it by sleeping with her boss. It would have meant too much for her to even risk it. And it just, it aggravates me the way he ruined their characters and then has the audacity to pat himself on the back and go, oh, I did a good job. It's like, no, you didn't. So here's what we're going to do with the characters, starting with Prue. In the very first episode of the show, we learned that Prue was pretty much parentified growing up, so she struggles to figure out how to relate to her sisters as sisters instead of a mother or authority figure. And while she does start to find a balance between the two, the show didn't really allow her to find an identity outside of being a sister or a witch. Prue is already something of a workaholic, and when she's not doing that, she's helping her sisters fight demons. She even recognizes this in the season 2 episode Morality Bites.
I have no one to say goodbye to. No life. They didn't even know who you were at the office, my own sister. If we die tonight, my tombstone will read, "Here lies Prue, she worked hard."
Which was her character's wake-up call, but instead of having her try new hobbies or find a life outside of work and magic, they just decide to suddenly make Prue's lifelong dream to have been a photographer out of nowhere in season 2. Then she almost immediately gets a job with a local magazine, and it's like... The show went from having realistic work settings like bad bosses, manipulative coworkers, and overworked employees to, oh, I'm going to do a complete career change? Well, I don't know anyone in the business and I don't have any work history in this field, so I'm not going to start at the top, but I'm definitely going to be on the ladder. Just no! Especially since they completely destroyed a season and a half's worth of her character development in the same stroke, because there is a reason Prue worked at a museum and an auction house. Because she was an expert in her field.
My area of expertise ranges from Ming Dynasty to a Mark McGwire rookie baseball card. You name it, I can identify it.
And could even speak multiple languages.
Salvo, imito, and plus brevis. To free what is lost, say these words.
Wow. You speak Latin?
Yes.
That sort of expertise isn't something you can just accomplish by reading a few books or taking a couple of classes. It's the result of years worth of research and hard work. To just throw that all away in favor of making her a photographer is just pretty much what they did with Phoebe, really. Threw away genuine skill for the sake of having a cool job, which, for the record, they both got pretty easily, too. So yeah, I'm not saying that she can't be a photographer, but the plan for the rewrite is to set up her character in a way where we can utilize all her skills, and also allow her to continue growing as a person, because like I said, Prue doesn't really have an identity outside of her family or work, and I think that's part of the reason she struggles to find someone that she really connects with, because she's had to be responsible for everything for so long that she didn't really have the chance to find herself first, so she needs to do that, but it's not something that's going to come easily. I think Prue is the type of person who would have to really hit rock bottom before she could come to terms with that she doesn't really know who she is, and so we're setting it up for her to do that. And for Phoebe, season 3 was when, in my opinion, the show really started to stumble with her character, turning someone who was somewhat irresponsible and could be a bit of a hopeless romantic into a character that really didn't care about anything or anyone other than Cole. A good example of this change is how she reacted when her sisters would get hurt. In the early seasons, Phoebe was always the first to make sure that her sisters were okay.
Piper, are you okay? Oh my God. Oh God.
You okay?
Yeah. Is Prue okay?
But season 3?
Are you all right?
I am, thanks to you.
I don't think Prue is gonna be quite as grateful.
Wake her up, I gotta get back to Cole.
Yeah, no, that's not Phoebe. Not Connie's Phoebe anyway. Plus they completely destroyed Phoebe's intelligence as well. In the early seasons, we see so many examples of how Phoebe is not only a very smart witch.
Looking for this? What about the evidence that Andy talked about? The trail of blood leaving the ravine where they found the first Prue.
We can't assume it's Gabriel's. The book says he's invulnerable.
To the weapons of man that wouldn't include a crystal sword that sucks away your soul.
But also has quite a talent for research and investigation.
What do you know about the guy they found murdered in the movie theater parking lot the other night?
But here's the best part. I called the PI firm he worked for, lied to them, told them I was Andy's partner, and they told me what the initials on the bracelet stand for. The T is for Terry, the L is for Lane.
Should I know the name?
Terry Lane was a 5-year-old girl kidnapped by her father. It was the case the detective was working on when he died.
And I always felt like the show did her character a huge disservice by not utilizing that, especially when you couple it with Phoebe's premonition power and psychology degree. She had a lot of potential, most of which they squandered by making her an advice columnist that somehow became mega famous in the span of what, like 2 or 3 months? Give me a break. Even Piper, who started her own club, struggled at first. No way would Phoebe have become a local celebrity in the span of a few months. I'm sorry, but no. So in the rewrite, I tried my best to correct her course and give her a job that I feel utilizes all of her talents and allows for a framework to introduce different characters and storylines in the future. I feel like Phoebe's character was on a quest for independence, so we're gonna help guide her in that direction. And then there's Piper. To be honest, they didn't really start ruining her character until the next season, but we're going to do what we can to make sure we don't get to that point in the first place. Piper was described as being the heart of the family, the mediator who tried to keep the peace, but she also wanted love, real love.
Love is a magic between two people that cannot be explained and cannot be conjured.
And a life outside of magic.
Because not wanting to be a witch isn't a symptom of something else like it is for you, Prue. For me, it's the problem. It's the cause. It's the problem with everything. I want a life that doesn't have a lot of death in it. I don't think that's too much to ask.
And instead of allowing her character to work towards that, the show steered her into a direction where she not only became some sort of potion master overnight.
Yeah, we need something called Billings root.
Well, you have that. It's on the bottom shelf.
No, that's ginger.
Now that's what it's called. In the old covens, they called it Billings root.
After mixing your potion, what's the best method to preserve unused sea slugs for future use?
But also started to openly use and abuse magic, not caring about the consequences at all.
See, I don't like that answer.
Piper?
You're no fun.
So yeah, we're not going to do that. Especially after Piper finally got married in season 3, I feel like the natural progression of that would be for Piper and Leo to start a family. But we saw in season 3 that the Source was really ramping up its efforts to come after them, and I don't think Piper or Leo are the type to try and bring a child into the world while things are so on edge. So I think they would have chosen to wait, but that also means that Piper would be putting her dreams on hold again, and with the other events that will be going on this season, I honestly think there's only so much Piper can take before something or someone cracks. And last but not least is Paige. Since Prue is in this version of season 4, it didn't really make sense to bring Paige's character on, but I did write an outline for a potential season 5 premiere that would allow her character to be brought in if you guys end up liking the rewriting season 4 stuff and want to continue. But yeah, that's what we're going to try and do with the characters. As for the season plot overall, I really wanted to bring back the emotional impact and the way that the actions and choices characters made had long-term consequences. Constance tried to base the show on real life, and in real life, if you make a bad decision, things aren't just magically fine the next episode. You have to address a problem before things can start to get better, and even then, it can take a while to get back to normal. Writing these big plot points into the show just for them to have basically no overall impact on the characters is just lazy writing in my opinion. Not that I'm saying I'm good at writing. I mentioned in the previous video how nervous I am to upload my own writing for the show, since I'm not a great writer by any stretch of the imagination. imagination, but I found it's definitely easier writing for a show than writing a completely new story because I can work with established characters in an established environment and try to speak with their voices, which honestly is one of the reasons the season 4 rewrite took so long to write in the first place. I kept rereading the scenes with the characters' voices in my head, thinking things like, okay, can I actually see Piper saying that? How would the seer react in this situation? How can I integrate this part of season 4 into a version where Prue is still alive? And stuff like that, because I really did try to keep as much of season 4 intact as possible, especially the tone. I know one of the things people really loved about season 4 is how dark it was. Even though losing Shannon and Prue was awful, season 4 also brought back some of those emotional moments that the show was known for, so it's very bittersweet for most of the fan base, I feel like. So when I sat down and started plotting out the season 4 rewrite, it was very important for me to try and keep those emotional moments for the characters.
Like, we cared about the work. We cared about what we were putting out there, and we cared about, like, you and I were always, like, towards the beginning, we were like, yeah, we'll stay here. We may be exhausted. We may be tired. The crew wants to go home. We want to go home. But listen, if we don't have it, we don't have it. We'll, like, stay and we'll get it because we cared about what was going on that screen.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I will see you next week for the Rewriting Season 4 premiere episodes. Hellbound Parts 1 and 2 premiering next Sunday at 12 p.m. EST. See you then. Bye.